Swipe right. It feels harmless, a photo, a bio, a few messages, and then you meet. But sometimes the date doesn't end. These are 5 real and deeply disturbing Tinder meetups, cases where a simple swipe led to something far darker. No exaggeration, no fiction, just documented reality. Sydney Loof. The Tinder date that never came back, 2017. In November 2017, 24-year-old Sydney Loof matched with a woman on Tinder in Nebraska. They exchanged messages. They went on a first date. Sydney texted friends saying she was excited. Then she disappeared. Days later, her remains were found in a rural area. The woman she met, Aubrey Trail, and his accomplice were later arrested and convicted. What made this case especially disturbing wasn't just the crime, it was how normal it began. Selfies, flirty messages, a casual meetup. This case highlights something psychologists call trust acceleration. How digital intimacy can compress the timeline of familiarity. You feel like you know someone faster than you actually do, and that illusion can be dangerous. 2. Grace Millane, a birthday trip that ended in tragedy, 2018. Grace Millane was traveling in New Zealand in 2018 when she matched with a man on Tinder. They went on a date in Auckland. CCTV later showed them entering his apartment building together. She never came out. The man later claimed the encounter was consensual and that her death was accidental during intimacy. A jury disagreed. He was convicted of murder. The disturbing part of this case was how ordinary the night looked on camera. Dinner, drinks, elevator footage. It challenges a comforting belief. That danger looks obvious. Often it doesn't. Ingrid Line. The Tinder match who dismembered his date, 2016. In Seattle, Ingrid Line met John Charlton through Tinder. They went on a date in April 2016. Shortly after, Line disappeared. Her remains were later discovered in recycling bins across the city. Charlton was arrested and later died in custody. What unsettled investigators was that Charlton had prior violent history, but online he appeared presentable, approachable. This case reveals a darker side of digital dating. Background is invisible unless you look for it, and most people don't, because swiping feels casual, not consequential. 4. Kaylee Haywood, groomed through a dating app, 2016. In the UK, 15-year-old Kaylee Haywood met a man through an online dating app. Though underage, she had access to platforms that blurred social boundaries. She went to meet him. He assaulted and murdered her. He was later convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment. This case triggered widespread debate about app safety, age verification, and parental oversight. What makes it especially disturbing is how grooming often unfolds digitally through gradual normalization. Psychologists call this boundary erosion, small steps that desensitize someone to risk. By the time the meeting happens, the psychological groundwork is already laid. The Tinder date carjacking setup, multiple US cases. Across several US states, police have documented a pattern. A Tinder match suggests meeting in a public parking lot. When the victim arrives, they're ambushed and robbed. In some cases, victims were shot. Authorities have repeatedly warned about criminals using dating apps to set up targeted robberies. These cases are disturbing not because of romance gone wrong, but because of strategy. The app becomes a tool, the date becomes bait, and trust becomes leverage. Tinder wasn't designed for violence, it was designed for connection. But connection requires vulnerability, and vulnerability can be exploited. What makes these cases so unsettling isn't just the crimes, it's how ordinary the beginning feels. A match notification, a shared joke, a plan for coffee. In psychology, there's a concept called optimism bias, the belief that bad things happen to other people. That bias thrives in dating apps, because if we assume the worst every time, we'd never meet anyone. So here's the uncomfortable question. When you swipe right, how much are you really trusting? And how much are you just hoping?